Hi everyone, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today we're going to do part 3 of how to change a negative habit. So in the first part we talked about visualizing yourself where you want to be. So instead of focusing on what you don't want, you start to focus on what you do want. And then in part 2 we talked about feeding the white wolf and how you can't undo your progress. It's okay when you accidentally feed the dark wolf. The dark wolf is strong, and that's alright, but just every single time you feed a little piece of kibble to the white wolf, it counts, and the more you do it, the more you do it, the more you do it, the more you build yourself up to learning how to have that be your dominant habit. And now in this final video, I want to give you just a little shift in perspective and a reframe. And I think that if you've been listening to these other videos and you've started to integrate this stuff, you will be ready to hear this part of it and be able to start to use it in your life. So this last part of changing your habits is, I think, the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself when you want to become the person that you want to become, right? So you've already visualized who you want to be, right? And you have started making kibble deposits into the white wolf. And now this last thing that I want you to consider and to start to practice is to think that every single thing you do, every single negative habit, every single thought pattern, behavior pattern, all of the stuff has a positive intention. Okay? And I know we've talked about this before, but I really want you to think about it again in the context of negative habits. And what I really want you to start thinking of your negative habits as, instead of thinking of them as excuses to beat yourself up and reasons to tell yourself how you're not good enough and things in your day to use to berate yourself and be like, see how I'm not good enough, see how I'm doing the same thing over and over again, see how I'm not strong, blah, 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 blah. Think of your negative habits as a call to love yourself. And this is a big shift for a lot of people. And because we're so used to thinking of our negative habits as negative, and we're so used to thinking of them as weaknesses and as crutches and as vices and as flaws, okay? And we use them as a reason to berate ourselves. We use them to beat ourselves up. We use them as an excuse to think about how we're not good enough and how we're not worthy. And all that does is cause the negative habit to have to exist longer. Because here is the truth. Every single thing you do has a positive intention. Okay? So your negative habit is there because it's trying to get you to love yourself. And again, most of us might not understand this, and it might take some real considering before you can understand what I'm trying to say. So I want to put it in a metaphor to maybe help you understand it better. So pretend you have a little baby, or a little child, okay? And your child is scared of the dark, okay? So every time you turn off the lights in their bedroom, they become afraid that there's going to be a monster. So you have two options as a parent when your child is afraid of the dark. Number one, you can be like, oh, you're so stupid. Why are you afraid of the dark? Monsters don't exist. There's nothing in the dark. You know, nothing in the dark has ever come to get you. I don't know why you think this monster exists. You're so dumb, little kid, for believing that there's something scary as soon as the light turns off, like the world changes. That's a dumb thing to think. So that's your first option. Beat the kid up and berate the kid for thinking that, you know, for crying when the light goes off. Or you can go to the child and you can say, I am so sorry you're feeling afraid. I'm going to cuddle you and I'm going to hold you and I'm going to tell you that you're safe and I'm going to remind you that nothing is here that's going to scare you, that you are safe in the dark, just like you're safe in the light. Nothing is going to harm you, and I'm, you know, pat them on the back, pat them on the head, give them little kisses, comfort them and make them feel better. Which option do you think is going to help the child become less afraid of the dark? The one where you yell at them, or the one where you love them and console them and tell them that everything is okay? Probably option 2, right? This is the thing. And if we really look at it, when the child is being afraid of the dark and the child is having essentially an irrational response to a normal phenomenon, what are they really doing? They're asking for love. They're asking for comfort. They're asking for compassion in the only way they know how. And I want you to think that you are doing the exact same thing to yourself with your negative habit. Your negative habit is your inner child saying to you, I need love, I need acceptance, I need compassion, I need caring. I don't know how to ask for it because I've been caught up in this negative cycle for so long that I have to act out in order to ask for love. And then instead of you giving yourself that love, you berate yourself and beat yourself up for your negative habit, right? And so it continues on this big cycle of you asking yourself for your own love and your own compassion and your own acceptance with your negative habit, and you not seeing that, so you continue to withhold your own love from yourself until you're perfect, which will never happen that way, and therefore you get love deficit, more love deficit, love deficit, love deficit. Your negative habit becomes stronger, 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 and stronger, louder, louder, and louder, and louder, trying to get you to love you, and you continue to withhold your love for every single time you do this habit, and it doesn't work, right? How many times have you beat yourself up into the person that you wanted to be? How many times have you berated yourself for your habits into a positive change that lasted? And I really want you to think about this. If you've ever actually been able to beat yourself up or control yourself or withhold your own love from yourself into a place where you were in a positive place, where you were loving yourself, where you were doing positive things for yourself, where you were living a life where you felt good about you. And I can say with complete confidence, I know you're never going to be able to think of an example where that worked, because it doesn't, right? It's completely defeating the purpose and beside the point. Your negative habits are your inner self calling you to love you, okay? And again, I know that you might think that if you start to love yourself in your negative habit, then that means you're never going to change your negative habit and you'll just be this person who's making up a story about yourself that you can love yourself inside your negative habit and it's okay. But that's not really true, because love heals. Your love will heal you, and your condemnation and your withholding of your love from you is what's keeping you stuck in your negative habit. And so again, I want you to go away and think about this. I want you to go away and really see how this feels when you think about it. My negative habit is calling me to love myself. It's not calling me to berate myself. It's not calling me to discipline myself more. It's not calling me to be harder on myself, because the thing is, that's never actually worked. I've never actually once been able to permanently change a bad habit into a good habit by beating myself up and withholding my own love from myself. And if you continue to wait until you're perfect before you love yourself, you will never love yourself. You have to love yourself now. So think of it like you're down here, okay? And you are now having to use negative stuff, negative actions, negative behaviors in order to call yourself to love you. You are like a child acting out who just wants love and just wants acceptance, but has been beat up and kicked down and told they're bad their whole lives. So now the only way they know how to ask for love and ask for attention is to act out badly. And if you start to love yourself down here, so you start to love yourself when you're doing your negative habit, you start to love yourself when you're thinking about your negative habit or when you're having negative stuff, you start to say, oh, I really want to drink right now. It's okay. I love me. It's all right. I'm going to send myself love and compassion. I'm going to give myself a hug. I'm going to give myself a walk. I'm going to give myself some nourishment, whatever that looks like for you. I'm just going to have some compassion for myself. I'm going to release my resistance to this negative habit, and I'm going to release my desire to beat myself up for it just for a moment, just to create some space for love. And if you continue to do that, you will get to a place where you no longer want to engage in your negative habit, because you will learn how to call yourself to love yourself in a positive way. And that's what you want to do. You want to get to a place where you are feeling like eating good because you love yourself. It's a call to love yourself every single time you want to eat, and because you have practiced loving yourself, you want to eat good foods. because it feels good to eat good foods, because that is a call to love yourself. Where it feels good to put money in the bank, because you're loving yourself doing that. You're taking care of yourself. And you want to do that because you've learned to not need the negative motivation, the negative call to love yourself. You can get out of this negative call to love yourself and into the positive call to love yourself. So just think about it. Your negative habits, your negative thoughts are really there as a call for you to love yourself more. They're just you throwing a tantrum, asking for more love. And if you can love yourself in the middle of your stuff, if you can really give yourself love and compassion where you are right now, you will heal so much faster and actually heal forever. So much more than if you continue to beat yourself up. Okay, so I just want you to think of that. Every emotion you have, every thought you have, every negative pattern is a call for you to love you more. Okay? So that's all I want to say in this video today. And that's my final word on changing a negative habit. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, you can leave them down below. If you want to like, subscribe, that's great. If you have any video requests, I'm happy to take those. And I will talk to you later. Thanks, guys.